Yo, what is up, YouTube? Back with another video. Today we're just going to keep it going, This has we've always been with the previous videos, titles, and everything. We're gonna keep this same kind of like niche genre going about how society really just don't care about none of us, bro. Society don't care about nobody. I'm not even trying to laugh, to be honest, but just in deep reflection and just watching my previous videos and just how I've been going, I'm like, dang. He's speaking for real. All right, let's get serious. We're back with another video. You know, I just want to talk about how society, it's just the same repetitive lifestyle of just social media, society, and just see how a lot of people are really not even living in the direction of what's normal anymore. And I say that because I grew up early 2000s and grew up around people who were like born in the 90s, and it's like social media really just ruined a lot of things. And I said this in the previous video. Like, you just wake up with the whole repetitive who's doing this, who's doing that, who's just saying the stuff that just don't make no sense. And I live my life. I've always lived my life in terms of purpose, of doing what I gotta do, get to where I need to go, right? And I assumed a lot of people live that kind of way, but when I see social media and turn on, or just, it's just quite the opposite of how people just end up, putting themselves in positions that they can't get out of. And I'm just like, Now I'm in this point in my life to even continue to find purpose and just get up every day to find out what I truly need to do, or what I truly want to do. Not even to bash or judge nobody, but it's like I'm watching. It's like, okay, let me try and figure out what I need to do and stuff like that. And it's really hard, right? A lot of people live their life for I don't even know what people live for anymore. Like, I've been in the deep reflection to really just let go of basically the friends, the running with the crowd, all that kind of mentality, mindset of social media influence, of just trying to be seen and be seen, and just trying to make jokes or make anything just to make people laugh and stuff. Nah, I never lived my life like that. And I'm just trying to live my life for like purpose, or and help people to find out what they really truly need to do with their life. I've always been like quite the serious. Like, okay, let's do what we gotta do, get to where we need to go. Let's see what happens next. A lot of people don't live their life like that. A lot of people just live to be living. Social media loud. You gotta be cautious of how we live and what we do, men and girls. See, the girls are on OnlyFans. I'm just like, you're on OnlyFans, that could cost you, the relationship. And any guy who really truly wants you, and and in their mind, they're like, if they don't want me, they want me, or stuff like that. I'm like, bro, it don't work that way. But I was like, all right. And the guys over there, running with the crowd, flashing the guns. I'm like, bro, that's not how we're supposed to be living, And it's like, yeah, gang, gang. I'm like, bro. And I tell you, it just exists. I'm just like, this cannot be real. This can't be the reality I'm living in. But it is. And people decide to live their life that way. That's cool. I always thought in my mindset since childhood, like, no, I'm not gonna live that way. Still got me all the way to this day. And with that mindset growing up, it led me to be isolated. People never wanted me around. Be like, oh, he's not cool. He's not this. Like, see how people live their life, and see, that's like I say, you can live your life however you want to. But a lot of people do live their life in a way to be like, okay, I'm trying to do something like, to get to where I really need to go. And I know by indulging these kind of activities that I just mentioned, will just make you lose everything. So that's why I mean, like, people really just live to live, that kind of mindset. And I live like this. And a lot of people, well, I'll say minority of people live how I'm just speaking and talking. And that's for real. And I'll be watching the podcast with all these people who made it successful and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, makes sense. Like, I just feel as though I'm in the meeting with them. I'm like, I'm like, interesting. They're like, what can we do about these kids in this new generation, like, just running around on social media? That's how I'm thinking. Because I always just, think about the consequence of actions before, bad things happen. And people don't like to even consider that, being aware is truly a blessing and a curse, and it can be, blessing to understand that, okay, you know what you really need to do. A curse to say that, not a lot of people will relate to you, a lot of people are not going to like you, which is perfectly fine. So I'm just here like this. When is it all going to be over? And that's, but I realized society's always been this way since the very beginning. And, right now it's just getting way worse. In terms of, you know, I'm actually trying to help kids be like, kids, avoid the traps of the enemy and preserve your life for a better future. Obviously, if you were to partake in these activities, like how they always want people to go outside, run around with the crowd, go flash guns, go get a whole lot of tattoo all over you, and do all that disqualifies you from a lifestyle that you could be living in the future of peace and prosperity, with God. And that's how I always consider. I always evaluate, what would God think of me if I do stuff like that, or what would that's how you should even think to establish your steps in life. And I said with the whole OnlyFans, I see a lot of people doing it, and they're on interviews and they're like just saying, asking them questions like, what would you do when your kids in the future see the video? She like, well, I'm gonna be happy with her if she decides to hop on the OnlyFans as well. I'm like, ain't no way. Ain't no way. Like I said, that's the mindset out here with people. And that's not good at all. No matter what society tell you that everyone is gassing you up. No, it's not. No. Like, I even have a daughter. I'm like, you never going on there. And I see people on the internet, and it's like, yo, stop. No. Take it down. Don't even do that. You're better than that. And you're destroying yourself in the long run. But that's what the enemy wants. That's what society wants. Society don't care about, like I said, society want people to live reckless. Walk however you want. Do whatever you want. Say whatever you want. Life don't apply that way. Life don't work that way. Yeah, you can actually do it, but is it best to live that way? No. Not at all. And that's truly what the enemy wants. And a lot of people, society wants. But it's not truly what's best, obviously. And you either grow up in society, or even just the whole world, you grow up, just know that the world judges you. People judge you for any and everything. So if you live that kind of life, they're going to judge you forever. And obviously, you should live a life to make it to the point that those, when judgment comes, they don't really got nothing to say about you. But when you do stuff like the guns and the OnlyFans and stuff like that, you really just threw yourself out there and put yourself under the bus for everyone to judge you. So that's why I'm saying that the only bad things happen. And is it best to do it? No. So obviously, no. And that's what's truly important, to just tell people, like, yeah, the way, no, that's not the best way, but people don't like to be, that way. And I ain't going outside correcting the whole world, but when you see and be aware, sure, you got to say it to people so they don't fall into the trap of the enemy. Like, I even assumed all my life that people understand these concepts, that whatever we do, obviously we should think before we do the things we do. But a lot of people, they don't even consider that. And that can come, peer pressure or whatever, or just not being aware of, how truly the best way and the right way to live, or, stuff like that. I ain't even just come to this realization, there's not really a right way to live, but it's the best way to live. Or the best way, the right way to live, is following God. And, and yeah, people don't consider the actions of their consequences until it happens. And I'll be reading the word and just knowing that, cause and effect. It's cause and effect, but it's always in play. So you got to be wary of what you're doing, because the effect can be, drastic. A lot of people don't even do that. Like I said, society just wants us to live however, walk however you want, talk however you want, live however you want, and watch them fail. Like, I grew up around some people like that they literally just watch you fail. They're not gonna say a word. So I was like one of those ones that they just never cared about. But I see other people doing that, I would care to be like, yo, don't do that. Don't be like that. But even as I say the word, correct the simple. Don't correct the wicked. They're just gonna hate you. That's literally what it comes with. So hopefully people live their life, or someone who hear this, live your life the best way. I ain't here to be no teacher or preacher, but consider your actions before consequences hit, because it truly really does matter how you live your life and how people see you and how people don't even care about that no more. Like I said, look at the age from back in the day and the whole no such thing as OnlyFans. Now the OnlyFans, and people are really making it seem like that's very normal to put our bodies on the internet and just sell it for money. The enemy has gotten into a lot of people's head and ears. That's not normal in the slightest, no matter what. No matter what. Yeah, I guess that wraps up this video. It's how, once again, society don't care about nobody. Not you, not me. We do what we got to do. And just knowing these information is like, live your life the best way. You guys, how I grew up, best way to live my life was like, okay, I understand how it works, so I just got to it's basically like you're playing hopscotch, okay? Like I said, you got to be careful, you got to be cautious. They want you to just walk walk on the lines, walk on the side. They want you to walk however. Don't care about nothing. But how you should be living your life and thinking about your life, it's like hopscotch. Like, what's next? Okay, be cautious. Oh, hopscotch. Oh, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2. Be cautious, because whatever you do, like I said, cause and effect. And I just wanted to address how the people who go outside and do all them kind of thinking that the gang activity, you gotta get tight. You don't need to do all that. You don't need to be all that. That's exactly, you don't have to live your life for the people to tell you, oh, you cool. No, you leave them alone. Man, I was told I'm a loser. I'm not that. I'm not. Did I care? I guess at the time when I was growing up, maybe I did. But at one point, I started to own it. Just like, yeah. Now I'm here to this day, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful I had those moments to reflect, to be like, I'm okay the way I am, and I didn't need to do all those kind of things. But like I said, life can really be like that, to the point that peer pressure can really get the best of us. Peer pressure can get the best of us. Society can get the best of us when they, try to change our way of thinking, or change, like I said, they really change a lot of people's way of thinking that the lifestyle that we're living, not being aware or cautious, is a joke or something. That's the best way to live, because you're not really doing it for everybody. You're doing it for yourself, your soul, your body, and that's what truly matters. Not what everybody else think. Like, you run with the crowd, you fall with the crowd. Sometimes being yourself is the best kind of answer. So I guess let me leave it right here for this video. I hope you guys like this. And I'll catch you on another time.